Hello YouTube, we're going to make fire starters for survival or staying cozy from North Rockies Design at northrockies.com. As with any dangerous objects, please use caution around fire. Also be sure to be safe around the hot melting wax. I'm not responsible for any injury or damage you may experience. So this is a fire starter. On the right you'll see our flame cam, which keeps track of the time that the fire starter is burning. It's made out of these old cardboard egg cartons, and also we use some dryer lint. I've stored it up in this loaf of bread bag, and here's what it looks like. Just basic dryer lint. We also are going to use some candle wax. I'm using an old candle, and I've stored some and saved some up in this jar. We're going to put it in this pot here to melt it. And we also use the jute, twisted jute twine. Twisted jute twine is helpful because it is flammable. Well, the first thing you do is you going to need to cut the egg carton into a square, as you can see here, and each egg carton will give you 12 of these little squares that you can, not a square, but it's a little cup that you will put the dryer lint into. So I'm using some heavy-duty scissors. You could use regular scissors. That first one I cut was with that small pair of blue scissors, but then I switched to some larger stronger scissors. And so then you end up with a pile of cups, and we go on to the next step. And as you can see, during that time we've got the wax. It's starting to melt and not quite all melted. So next you take each cup and you put in the dryer lint up to the bottom. You can see that edge there, and you can see where it kind of comes up to the top of the cup area. And the reason is we'll be folding down those sides, and I'll show you that in just a little bit. And move on to the next one. And in this case I had 48 of these little cups because I used 4 egg carton, cardboard egg cartons. And it's got to be the cardboard ones. You don't want to use styrofoam. Styrofoam will burn and cause noxious fumes to make you all sick. So don't use the styrofoam ones. As you can see, it's something that little children can help with, and they can handle the putting dryer lint in the little cups. My 2 little girls ended up helping me, as you can see here, and just a little supervision to make sure that they get enough. This was actually last year. The batch we did this year, there were some that didn't have enough in there. These look great. So the next step is to fold the edge over, and I'm trying to show. You just take the edge of the cardboard and you fold it over, so it makes a little package, kind of like a little box that you that we're going to then tie the jute twine around. Again, the jute twine is highly flammable, so it works as a great wick to get these things started. It stays dry. Even with the wax on it, it actually helps it a little bit to burn better. So that's what we'll use. So I make these 48 packages of dryer lint inside cardboard egg carton cups, and that's the basis, or the base of our fire starters. During that time, our wax is still melting. It looks like it's almost melted here. I will say that I didn't have enough wax in the jar at this point. You could also, there are other ways to make wax, to melt wax. So just do what works best in your situation. Okay, So here's the jute twine, and it's twisted jute twine. It was about $3 for 200 feet, I think, something like that. We just tie it around both ways, like you sending a package in the mail. I guess we don't usually do that with packages anymore, but you know what I mean. Let's move this over so we can get it out of the way, and I can demonstrate with the wax. Pardon my kitchen junk drawer. This is an area I need to work on in my house as far as organization. I'm looking for the salad tongs so I can get the jar out of the wax. And it's in here. I know it is. Hey, there it is. Okay, great. I'm sure you all have a drawer in your house that looks about like that. If you don't, well, you have my praise. So we'll get the jar out and steady as we go. Then make sure to be safe. Let's make sure that's turned off. Let's get the boiling pot. Make sure that the handle is not sticking on the outside of the stove. Let's keep it on the inside so that small hands or fingers don't knock it off if you're doing it with kids. Otherwise, if you don't have children, then anyway. So here's our little fire starter. We're going to put it in the wax. Just dip it around, shake it up a little bit. Hopefully you'll have a little bit more wax in your jar and it won't be as difficult. The batch I made this year, I had probably the jar half full before I even bothered to dip any in there. So here is the process. You don't have to go this long. You can have the string a little shorter. I just kept it that long so I could keep it in. And here it is, and it'll dry very quickly. So now I'm going to demonstrate tying the knot around the fire starter with the jute twine. When I first recorded this, I made a comment about I wished I had brought home the tripod. So easy, a child can do it. And she did. She helped me with all of those. In fact, this year we had all three of my younger girls helping with this. It's a great activity for family, and as long as you supervise with the melting wax, it's safe and fun. And then as you see on the right, still we're at looks like 7 minutes and 55 seconds. These will burn for quite a long time. I had actually had a recording of In the Wind last year when I did it, but I ended up that I didn't want to use that shot because it was less representative of most cases if you're using it for your wood stove like I am. And we're just going through tying the knots around these little fire starter packages. Again, it's the cardboard cup from an egg carton with dryer lint inside, packed up, folded over, and then tied around with jute twine. All in all, I think I spent probably, $4 total for the 200 feet of jute twine and a couple of small scented candles. And you can just pull the wick out of the middle or melt it in there. It doesn't matter. So here I am cutting the lengths of the twine so that I can have enough. Just get it about somewhere between 8 inches. No, you'll need to tie it. So somewhere in between 10 inches and a foot long. I don't remember what that is in metric at the moment. So keep tying until you've got them all tied up with little brown paper packages tied up with strings. You can listen to some Christmas music. It's great to do while you're, I guess that's, and then you just dip them in. And this, my daughter's doing it. You just shake it up a little bit, move it around so that it can completely cover the package or the fire starter box. It'll also smell good if you use a scented candle. Slosh it around so that you can get it covering, get some good coverage on the fire starter. Pull it out and set it on wax paper. I found is a good way to do it, because then it doesn't stick to, it doesn't make a mess on whatever surface you're doing. And so I've got this jelly roll pan with wax paper sitting on top. And my daughter helped me out with that. If the strings are too long, then just use the or if the strings are too short, or the depth of the wax is too low, use a butter knife, use a stick. You could use I used the salad tongs in a little bit later. And her job, as you can see, was to set them in or stir them up with a stick, and I would hold on to the fire starter to keep it, unless it was too short. Then I grabbed the tongs, and we had a good fun system. It was a good activity for the two of us to spend time together and do something fun and helpful for the family. We ended up this year making twice as many as we did last year because we ran out. I made 48 last year, made 96 this year. If you want to conserve them a little better, just make sure that whenever you light your new fire, that you don't wait until the old fire goes out. It'll help conserve these. And here you see our finished pile of fire starters. I just took the wax paper, wrapped them up, and either you can store them in a bag, you can store them in an empty metal can, or however. As you can see, we ended up with 12 minutes and 8 seconds, and that is pretty good for a fire starter, I think, for pretty cheap.